Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Smackdown and AEW Rampage review. Smackdown tonight was from the Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, Ontario, while Rampage was taped from the Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, Tennessee. And Smackdown tonight, I thought the show was okay, in my opinion. Basically, the show was built around Edge's 25th anniversary and, of course, Edge's match against Sheamus. First time ever that these two have faced off in the ring. So, and this was technically Edge's final match here, which I will get to explain that later after I talk about the match. But tonight on SmackDown, we had Austin Theory versus LA Knight. Charlotte Flair and Bianca Belair teamed up to take on Bayley and Skye. The Street Profits, they ended up taking on the OC, Gallows, and Karl Anderson. And of course, the main event was Edge versus Sheamus. But overall, SmackDown, I thought it was an okay show tonight. But before I get into review, if you guys haven't checked out my previous videos that I uploaded, my Night Raw review is up. Dynamite review from Wednesday is also up. Well, that show fucking sucked on Wednesday night. That Dynamite was awful. Also, I did a movie review of Blue Beetle, which I saw last night, so my review of that is up. Really loved the film. So check out my review of that. So check out those reviews if you guys haven't seen them. But anyways, let's jump right into the review. SmackDown opened up tonight with the Grayson Waller effect. Grayson Waller was in the ring. He ended up welcoming everyone to SmackDown. He ended up saying that he can't wait until Edge comes out later tonight. And thanks, Grayson, by saying, "Thank you for making me relevant again." But Waller ended up saying, "Enough about Edge. Let's talk about who will get the Grayson Waller rub." So he ended up welcoming out Santos Escobar and Rey Mysterio. Of course, Rey Mysterio is the new United States champion after he beat Austin Theory last week on SmackDown. So out came Escobar and Mysterio. Escobar was shown he had a brace on his left leg. So him and Mysterio walked down to the ring. So Grayson Waller congratulated Rey on winning the United States Championship. Fans in Toronto were chanting 619 as Rey ended up thanking Grayson Waller. I say the Toronto crowd was, pretty good tonight for 2 hours of the show. So Rey ended up saying that it feels great to once more be the United States champion. Waller ended up telling Santos Escobar he can imagine being champion. So Rey ended up saying that Austin Theory tried to cook up a plan, and that was a plan that they ruined together. So Waller ended up trying to stir the pot by saying Rey is the champion. So Rey ended up telling Waller that it doesn't matter who is the champion, as the United States Championship is now with the LWO. Waller ended up telling Rey that he stole Santos' chance last week. And Rey ended up telling Waller that he stole nothing. Pretty much Waller, wanted Escobar to turn on Rey, and that's why Waller was stirring the pot there. But unfortunately, that wasn't going to happen. So Waller ended up telling Santos that he even beat Rey when it was Escobar's big night. He ended up saying that it was Rey who stole Santos Escobar's opportunity. So Waller was like, oh, this is what legends do. He ended up saying that Rey is not ready to pass the torch. So Santos Escobar ended up telling him to shut up in Spanish. Escobar then called Waller a dog, and he told Waller to listen. He ended up saying that the only person he is angry at is that low-life, good-for-nothing Austin Theory. Escobar ended up saying that he gave Rey his blessing because he respects him, something that Waller does not have. So Escobar called Rey his friend and mentor. He ended up saying that he knows what Waller is trying to do, but it won't work because they are a family. He ended up saying that Theory got what he deserved, and once he is fully healed, and so he got interrupted by Austin Theory. Austin Theory came out, boos from the crowd. Theory got on the mic, and he congratulated Rey on becoming a 3-time United States champion. But he ended up saying, where is the Father of the Year award? So he wanted to know who was running this show, because what happened last week was a tragedy. So Austin Theory ended up saying that he got played. Theory then got into the ring. He ended up telling Escobar that he wasn't man enough to step up to the greatest United States champion. He says he's the greatest United States champion. Austin Theory did nothing with the United States Championship. Theory ended up saying that he is the greatest, and Rey was not supposed to be in the match. So he ended up asking for Adam Pearce to come out and hand him what was rightfully his, and that is the United States Championship. Theory ended up saying that the title belongs to him. So he ended up yelling for Adam Pearce to come out. So Adam Pearce ended up coming out. He ended up telling Theory that no one wants to hear him complain. So then LA Knight's music ended up hitting. LA Knight came out. Huge ovation there in Toronto for LA Knight. So the crowd was chanting LA Knight. I am really glad that LA Knight is just so over. But yet, Vince is not a fan of LA Knight because LA Knight got himself over. So, Knight got on the mic. He ended up saying, let me talk to you. He ended up saying that he didn't just hear Austin Theory say he was the greatest United States champion of all time. Knight ended up saying that after he calls, Theory is the guy who defended his United States championship once every 3 months, and he fumbled the ball. Knight ended up saying that he doesn't care who is the champion, sometime or another, and that it's coming to him. He ended up saying that he won through 24 other men at SummerSlam, in that SummerSlam Slim Jim Battle Royal. Yeah, LA Knight won that Battle Royal, and he won momentum. He got nothing. So he said that, and he ended up saying that it won't be a problem to go through Theory. Knight ended up saying that him and Theory are dressed to fight. He ended up seeing Rey with the United States Championship, and he thought to himself, what if it was for a shot at the United States Championship? So Knight ended up saying, oh, how about it's me versus Austin Theory? Adam Pearce then looked at LA Knight, and he made the match official. Adam Pearce was like, oh, the match is going to happen right now. So, pretty much that was basically how the segment ended. But overall, it was a okay, segment to open SmackDown, with the Grayson Waller effect. Rey and Santos Escobar coming out there. Santos Escobar saying that he gave Rey his blessing because he respects him. And he ended up calling Rey his friend and mentor. But I thought that was good from Escobar saying that, about Rey. And then we had the first match of the night, of course, Austin Theory versus LA Knight. Before the match got underway, The Miz ended up coming out. Miz was on commentary for the match here. Match got underway. Theory ended up attacking Knight and stomped on him in the corner. Theory delivered a fallaway slam to Knight. Theory ended up slamming Knight into the corner. Knight came back and hit Theory with a clothesline. Knight then delivered a suplex to Theory, which was followed up by an elbow drop off the second rope. Knight ended up going for the cover, and Theory kicked out. Theory then rolled to the outside. Knight ended up following him, and Theory ended up slamming Knight into the ring apron. Theory then grabbed Knight, and Knight came back and hit Theory with an elbow to his face. So then Knight ended up slamming Theory's face into the commentary table. He threw Theory back into the ring. So now at this point, it was Knight and Miz face to face. Theory ended up kicking Knight in the face. The Knight came back. He delivered a right hand to Theory. And then Knight threw Theory into the Miz. And then Smackdown went to commercial. Then when Smackdown came back from the commercial, Theory was in control of the match. He delivered a clothesline on Knight in the middle of the ring. Theory ran towards Knight. Knight came back, grabbed Theory, and slammed him onto the mat. Knight ended up slamming Theory into the turnbuckle, and Knight ended up hitting Theory with a neck breaker. Knight ended up going for the cover, and Theory kicked out. Knight then stomped on Theory in the corner, and when Knight was stomping Theory, in the corner with some stomps, the fans were chanting, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." They were all chanting "yeah" when Knight was stomping on, Theory in the corner. And then Knight ended up lifting Theory up. Theory ended up landing on his feet, and Theory ended up hitting Knight from behind. Theory ended up going for a town down, but Knight ended up landing on his feet, and he ended up hitting Theory with a power slam. Knight then ran to the ropes, but Miz got on the ring apron. So Miz distracted Knight. Miz got down from the ring apron. Knight ended up turning around, and he hit Theory with a DDT. Knight then chased Miz outside of the ring. Miz got into the ring. Knight ended up clotheslining Miz to the outside. So Theory ended up rolling Knight up from behind. He ended up grabbing Knight's tights. And there you go. Austin Theory ended up winning the match. Overall, I thought this was a good match between Theory and LA Knight. Not happy that Knight lost again. But, WWE, they want to have LA Knight's, fire run out since he's so over with the crowd. Like I said, Vince probably doesn't even like LA Knight and how he got over himself. It's coming. It's coming. So then we had a video package where John Cena, Sheamus, Natalya, Miz, Charlotte, and Sami Zayn congratulated Edge on his 25 years in the company. John Cena was like, "Hey Edge, this is your arch nemesis, John Cena." And John Cena and Edge, it's one of my favorite feuds. They put on some really awesome matches. Edge was the monster heel, at that time. And also you had, Charlotte mentioned that she sat, floor for her dad's match with Edge. It was a TLC match on Monday Night Raw. It's one of my favorite matches. And of course, Edge and Ric Flair fought at New Year's Revolution in 2006 for the Intercontinental Championship, in which Flair was the champion. But of course, that match was won by Flair because of a disqualification. And then later on in the night, that was the same show, of course, where Edge cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase, and he beat John Cena for the WWE Championship. After John Cena won the Elimination Chamber match and retained the WWE Championship. So, but yeah, Edge, he's done a lot in the company. So then we had a video package, and it showed Bret Hart on a show with a young Edge that was in the audience. So Edge asked him a question about becoming a wrestler, and you can find this on YouTube. So we saw clips of Edge's career, of course, with Booker T, Paul Heyman, and other superstars talking about Edge on his 25 years with the company. Very well done video package of Edge. These superstars talking about Edge. So just very well done. And then we had Damage Control end up coming out. We only saw Bayley and Dakota Kai. Bayley got on the mic. She ended up saying, even though the dum-dums in Toronto are not worthy, they are going to grace them with a champion. She ended up saying that they are not used to that either, but they will grace them with the new WWE Women's Champion, Io Skye. So out came Io Skye, and then we had Bayley and Io Skye versus Charlotte Flair and Bianca Belair. This was a decent women's match here. Match got underway. Bianca and Bayley started off the match. Bianca locked in a waistlock takedown on Bayley, and she turned it into a headlock. Bayley got to her feet, and Bianca ended up spearing Bayley into the corner. Bianca then ended up delivering a snap suplex to Bayley, and then Charlotte ended up tagging in. Bianca and Charlotte then double teamed on Bayley in the corner. Charlotte started stomping away on Bayley in the corner. Charlotte ended up slamming Bayley's face first into the top turnbuckle, and then Charlotte delivered a chop to Bayley's chest. She ended up going for a suplex, but Bayley landed on her feet. She ended up slamming Charlotte down onto the canvas. Io Skye then tagged in, and Bayley and Io Skye double teamed on Charlotte. So Io ended up going for a chop to Charlotte, but Charlotte ended up kicking Io away. Charlotte delivered a splash in the corner, and she threw Io Skye onto the ring apron. Charlotte then delivered a big boot to Io, which Io then fell to the outside. Charlotte was now on the ring apron, and she delivered a cannonball onto both Bayley and Io on the outside. So then SmackDown went to commercial. Then when SmackDown came back from the commercial, Charlotte was in control of the match. She delivered a backbreaker onto Bayley. Charlotte then climbed the top rope. Bayley ended up delivering a right hand to Charlotte. She ended up throwing Charlotte down onto the canvas. Bayley ended up going for the cover, and Charlotte kicked out. Io Skye then tagged in, and once again, Bayley and Io double teamed on Charlotte. Io Skye then locked in the crossface on Charlotte, but Charlotte ended up getting out of the crossface. Charlotte delivered a back body drop to Io. She ended up trying to make the tag to Bianca, but Io knocked Bianca off the ring apron. Io then delivered a chop to Charlotte's chest. She ended up throwing Charlotte into the ropes, and Io delivered a drop kick to Charlotte. Io ended up going for the cover, and Charlotte kicked out. Io grabbed Charlotte, but Charlotte ended up throwing Io onto the top rope. So Charlotte tagged Bianca in. Bianca ended up hitting Io with a shoulder tackle. She then delivered a drop kick to Io, which was followed up by a vertical suplex. Bianca then speared Io in the corner, ended up hitting her with some right hands. Bayley got into the ring, and Bianca delivered a backbreaker to Bayley. Bianca then delivered a spinebuster onto Io. She delivered a moonsault onto Bayley. Of course, better moonsault than Charlotte. So we had Io deliver a drop kick to the back of Bianca's knee. She dragged Bianca into the corner and tagged Bayley back in. Bayley ended up going for the cover, and Bianca kicked out. Bayley then grabbed Bianca, but Bianca ended up kicking Bayley away. Io got into the ring, and Bianca ended up delivering a double neck breaker to both Bayley and Io. Bianca then tagged Charlotte back into the match. Charlotte then delivered a crossbody off the top rope onto both Bayley and Io. Charlotte then delivered some chops to both Bayley and Io. Charlotte then delivered a fallaway slam onto Bayley, and then she ended up going for a clothesline to Bayley. She ended up going for the cover. Bayley ended up kicking out. So later on, we had Bayley end up going for the figure eight. Charlotte's finishing move, but Charlotte ended up hitting Bayley with a right hand. Bianca was then tagged in. Charlotte delivered a big boot onto Bayley. Bianca then hit the KOD to Bayley, and Bianca ended up going for the cover. And there you go. Charlotte Flair and Bianca Belair ended up winning the match. Overall, it was a decent women's match here. Decent women's tag team match. And then we had Kathy Kelly. Kathy Kelly was backstage with Bianca Belair. So Kathy Kelly was going to ask Bianca a question, but it got cut short because Damage Control ended up hitting Bianca from behind with a chair. They ended up placing Bianca's left leg in between a chair, and they ended up slamming another chair onto her leg. Bianca then screamed in pain as officials end up breaking Damage Control up from Bianca, and that was basically that. And then we had the Street Profits versus the OC, Luke Gallows and Karl Anderson. And this was just a quick match here. Of course, the Street Profits, they lined themselves with Bobby Lashley, and they weren't wearing suits here, as they came out for their match. But the match got underway. Gallows and Montez Ford started off the match. Gallows delivered some right hands to Ford. Gallows then tagged in Karl Anderson, and the OC double teamed on Montez Ford. Karl Anderson ended up going for the cover, and Montez Ford kicked out. So Anderson ran to the ropes, and Montez Ford delivered a clothesline to Karl Anderson. Dawkins then tagged in, and the Street Profits double teamed up on Karl Anderson. Dawkins ended up slamming Karl Anderson onto the mat, and he ended up hitting Gallows with a right hand. Ford then tagged in. Dawkins delivered a neck breaker to Karl Anderson. So Ford delivered a frog splash off the top rope to Karl Anderson. He ended up going for the cover, and Gallows broke up the pin. Dawkins then threw Gallows to the outside. Dawkins then ended up tagging in. Karl Anderson ended up throwing Dawkins shoulder first into the corner, and Karl Anderson ended up hitting Montez Ford with a spine buster. Gallows then tagged in. The OC double teamed up on Dawkins. Gallows ended up going for the cover, but Dawkins kicked out. Karl Anderson ended up tagging in. Him and Gallows ended up going for the Magic Killer, but Dawkins ended up kicking Gallows to the outside. Ford got into the ring. He ended up flying over the top rope onto Gallows to the outside. Ford got on the ring apron, and he was then tagged in. The Street Profits ended up hitting Karl Anderson with a sit-down powerbomb neckbreaker, which looked great. So Montez Ford ended up going for the cover, and there you go. The Street Profits ended up winning the match. Post-match, Bobby Lashley ended up coming out. So the Profits ended up celebrating with Bobby Lashley on the ramp, and that was basically that. Overall, this was just a quick match. Easy win for the Profits. So then, we saw Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman was standing backstage. He was looking all worried, and he also looked tired, because they promoted this as, is this the end of the bloodline? So, in came Caleb Braxton. Caleb Braxton ended up asking for an update on the bloodline. from Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman looked at Kayla Braxton and he ended up saying no. So Kayla Braxton ended up asking Heyman about the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, in which Heyman shook his head. Kayla Braxton ended up saying to Paul Heyman that she has heard a lot of rumors. So Paul Heyman ended up cutting Kayla Braxton off. Paul Heyman ended up saying, "Are you just going to come to me about rumors?" Paul Heyman ended up asking about which rumors? About Roman's cousin Jay, the one who abandoned WWE, who quit the Bloodline, who quit SmackDown and WWE? And Paul Heyman was like, "Oh, are you going to ask me about his family? What about her family?" So Paul Heyman ended up asking how Kayla Braxton's mom is, if she has heard from her lately. He ended up saying that he heard rumors. He asked Kayla Braxton about her dad and cousins. But no, she doesn't want to talk about the rumors of her cousin, but rumors about the cousin of the tribal chief. Heyman ended up saying that Kayla Braxton won't even ask him about Edge and his 25 years, or Austin Theory. So Paul Heyman's phone ended up ringing. So he tells Kayla Braxton, as they say in Quebec, which is a real province, unlike where they are. And Paul Heyman was like, "Oh, I gotta take this." Paul Heyman then spoke on the phone, and he ended up saying whoever was on the phone that he is on live TV doing an interview. So Paul Heyman looked surprised. And he ended up saying, "Really?" And then the call ended. Kayla Braxton asked him, what was that all about? Paul Heyman ended up saying that Jimmy Uso will be live on Smackdown next week. So Kayla Braxton ended up asking Paul Heyman if he cares to share his source. To which Paul Heyman ended up saying that he would love to, but even he will not dare. So Paul Heyman ended up walking off, and that was basically that. So Jimmy Uso will be live on SmackDown next week, and this was a good segment here. Paul Heyman is, of course, great at what he does. Him and Kayla Braxton have good chemistry. So this was a good segment. Main event. Edge versus Sheamus. This is the first time that these two went at it. They have never fought before. And apparently, this was probably Edge's last match in WWE. I have this sickening feeling that Edge is going to be going to AEW. I have a feeling that he's going to show up at All In at Wembley. That's just how I feel. Because after I talk about the match here, there was a promo that Edge cut when SmackDown went off the air. So I'll explain that after I talk about the match here. But this was a really good match here. The crowd was into it. So Sheamus was already in the ring. Edge's music ended up hitting, and the crowd there in Toronto went crazy. Great ovation for Edge there. So he made his way down. We saw, of course, Beth Phoenix, his wife, and their daughters, were in attendance. So both Sheamus and Edge end up shaking hands. The fans end up chanting, "Thank you, Edge." Match got underway with Edge locking in a headlock on Sheamus, and Edge ended up running to the ropes. He ended up knocking Sheamus down with a shoulder tackle. Sheamus got back to his feet, and Sheamus ended up locking in a headlock on Edge. And Sheamus ended up running to the ropes. He ended up knocking Edge down with a shoulder tackle. So both Sheamus and Edge ended up smiling. Edge got back to his feet. Sheamus went to the ropes. Sheamus then delivered an Irish Curse backbreaker to Edge. And then SmackDown went to commercial. Then when SmackDown came back from the commercial, Edge was in control of the match. He delivered a forearm to Sheamus' face. He went for the cover, and Sheamus kicked out. We had Edge end up going to the outside, and he powerbombed Sheamus off the ring apron onto the outside, which was great. So Edge threw Sheamus back into the ring, and Edge ended up climbing the top rope, and he landed a crossbody onto Sheamus. He went for the cover, and Sheamus kicked out. Edge then threw Sheamus back into the ring. Edge ended up climbing the top rope, and he landed a crossbody onto Sheamus. So Edge ended up going for the cover, and Sheamus kicked out. We had Sheamus end up slamming Edge. He ended up going for the cover, and Edge kicked out. Edge rolled onto the ring apron. Sheamus ended up grabbing Edge, and Sheamus was going for the 10 beats of the bottom, but Edge blocked it. Edge delivered some right hands to Sheamus. So Edge came back into the ring. Sheamus rolled onto the ring apron. Edge then speared Sheamus to the outside, which was crazy. That was a good spot there. So then SmackDown came back from the commercial. Sheamus was in control of the match. He had Edge locked in the Boston Crab, but Edge delivered some right hands onto the back of Sheamus' leg. Edge ended up getting Sheamus into the crossface, but Sheamus reached the ropes. Sheamus climbed to the top rope as Edge got to his feet. Edge delivered a kick to Sheamus' face, so Edge ended up climbing the top rope. Edge then delivered a superplex off the top rope to Sheamus, and then he ended up hitting Sheamus with the execution. He ended up going for the cover, and Sheamus kicked out. We had Sheamus deliver the white noise off the second rope to Edge. He lifted Edge up, and Sheamus hit Edge with the Celtic Cross. He ended up going for the cover, and Edge ended up kicking out. So Edge got onto the ring apron, and that led to Sheamus delivering the 10 beats of the bottom to Edge. So Sheamus continuously hit Edge across the chest with the 10 beats of the bottom, and Edge ended up falling onto the ring apron. Sheamus ended up grabbing Edge, ended up saying that he warned him. But Edge slapped Sheamus in the face. Edge then clotheslined Sheamus. Edge ended up going for the spear, but Sheamus ended up hitting Edge with a knee, which was followed up by the brogue kick, to which Sheamus ended up going for the cover, and Edge kicked out. So the fans were booing Sheamus. Sheamus ended up going for a brogue kick. Edge ducked it. He rolled Sheamus up. Sheamus kicked out. Edge got back up, and he delivered the spear to Sheamus. He ended up going for the cover. Sheamus kicked out. Edge went for another spear, and so Edge ended up going for the cover, and there you go. Edge ended up winning the match. Post-match, Pyro went off in the arena. Edge ended up looking at his wife, Beth, and also their daughters. Sheamus got to his feet, and it was a very nice little moment there for like a second where Edge and Sheamus ended up hugging. And so SmackDown went off the air after that. Overall, this was a very good match here. Very good last match for Edge. So now I want to read this because Edge ended up cutting a promo after the match when SmackDown was off the air. So only the fans in Toronto got to see this. And there's a video online that you could see of Edge delivering this promo. But he ended up saying, what can I say, is that this is my last one in front of y'all. I don't think I can make it another full run to get here again for a match. I'm just being honest with you. But don't let that be a downer, because, man, what an experience you all gave me. I will never forget it. I will never forget it. When I'm 84 years old and I don't remember much, I'm damn sure going to remember this. Thank you. End quote. So that is what Edge ended up saying in his promo after SmackDown went off the air. But he ends up saying that it's his last match. But I have this feeling that Edge is possibly going to be going to AEW. I don't know. I have that feeling that he is going to go. I think he might show up at All In Wembley. Because, his best friend Christian is there. Possibly, if he does go to AEW Edge, we might see, maybe Edge and Christian go again for a World Tag Team title, opportunity down the line. So, but I don't know. I have this feeling that Edge is going to go to AEW and that he might show up at Wembley at All In. But overall, SmackDown tonight was an okay show, in my opinion. I mean, it just revolved around Edge's 25 years in the company. And, of course, the big main event, Edge versus Sheamus. First time ever these guys, went at it. Moving on to AEW Rampage, which Rampage, I thought it was a good show tonight. We had Rey Fenix versus Komander. We had Aussie Open, Mark Davis and Kyle Fletcher versus Brother Zay and Ethan Page for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championship. We had Sammy Guevara end up taking on John Cruz. And the main event, we had Hikaru Shida and Skye Blue versus Ruby Soho and Toni Storm. Overall, Rampage, I thought, was a good show tonight. So Rampage opened up with Rey Fenix versus Komander. This was a very good match here. Two high flyers here in Fenix and Komander. Of course, we had Alex Abrahantes at ringside, who accompanied Rey Fenix. So the match ended up starting both Fenix and Komander locked up. And we had Komander end up going flying over the top rope. He leveled Fenix on the outside. So Komander and Fenix got back into the ring. Fenix delivered a double stomp off the top rope to Komander. Fenix ended up following that up with a kick to Komander's head, to which Rampage then went to commercial. Then when Rampage came back from the commercial, Komander was in control of the match. He delivered a springboard crossbody to Fenix. Komander then followed up with a to Harris, but Fenix ended up firing back with a super kick, and he set up for a powerbomb. Komander countered that into a reverse hurricanrana. He then got Fenix up on his shoulders and planted him with the double knees. We saw Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli watching the match from backstage. Fenix delivered a kick to Komander's spine, and he delivered a second kick off the top rope to Komander. Komander then fired back with a crucifix bomb, but Fenix ended up landing a roundhouse kick. So we had both guys going back and forth with some elbows. Komander then delivered a Canadian Destroyer off the top rope to Fenix, which that was fucking awesome. That was a good spot there. So then we had Komander end up delivering a shooting star press to Fenix. He ended up going for the cover, and Fenix ended up kicking out. Komander ended up going up to the top. He ended up looking to go for the 450 splash, but Fenix ended up moving out of the way. Fenix fired back with a ripcord knee, and he delivered a roundhouse kick to Komander. So we had Fenix delivering some chops to Komander, and then he delivered the muscle buster. Fenix ended up going for the cover, and there you go. Rey Fenix ended up winning the match. Overall, very good match this was. Both Fenix and Komander worked really well here in the match. Both of them are high flyers. I really enjoyed that Canadian Destroyer off the top rope from Komander to Fenix. That was just absolutely great. But very good match it was. And then we had Renee Paquette. Renee Paquette was backstage with Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. Renee Paquette ended up asking Britt Baker what it would mean for her to win back the AEW Women's World Championship. Britt Baker ended up saying to Renee that it would be a full circle moment for her to win back the title after she helped lay down the foundations of the women's division. So that was what Britt Baker had to say. Of course, she's going to be in the four-way match for the AEW Women's World Championship, where it's going to be Saraya and Toni Storm and Britt Baker versus Hikaru Shida. So there you go. That's the four-way match at All In for the AEW Women's World Championship. And then we had Aussie Open. Mark Davis, Kyle Fletcher versus Brother Zay. Isaiah Cassidy, Mr. Moaner, and Ethan Page. This is for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championship. And this was a good match here. So the match ended up starting. We had Davis and Fletcher end up going after Brother Zay and Ethan Page. Fletcher delivered a stomp to Zay, and then Mark Davis ended up tagging in. Aussie Open ended up delivering a double chop to Zay. So Mark Davis then ended up playing Zay, tagged Fletcher back in. Fletcher then ended up landing a stomp, and Zay ended up catching Fletcher with an arm drag. So Zay then ended up hitting Davis with an enziguri, and Ethan Page ended up clotheslining Davis out of the ring. Zay then ended up going flying off the top rope and leveled Aussie Open on the outside, took out both Davis and Fletcher. So Ethan Page was now the legal man. He ended up pinning Fletcher, but Mark Davis ended up breaking up the pin. So we had Zay end up delivering a shoulder to Fletcher's midsection. Page was wearing down on Mark Davis. So we had Aussie Open end up powering Zay and Page, then up sending them crashing into one another. So Rampage then went to commercial. So then when Rampage came back from the commercial, Ethan Page delivered a Fisherman's Buster to Kyle Fletcher. Zay then tagged in and delivered a pair of back elbows to Fletcher. Zay then followed that up with a springboard crossbody. So we had Zay end up ascending to the top. He was looking to go for a swanton, but Fletcher ended up getting his knees up, and he followed up with a super kick to Zay. So Fletcher then delivered a cutter off the ropes with some help from Davis. So we had Fletcher end up going for the cover. Ethan Page ended up breaking up the pin. Aussie Open ended up catching Page with a double thrust kick. Davis then ended up tagging in, and Aussie Open ended up landing double lariats. And then they ended up hitting the Cole Royce for the win. So there you go. Aussie Open ended up winning the match, retaining the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championship. Post-match, Mark Davis got on the mic. He kept saying that Aussie Open will prove they're the best in London. So Kyle Fletcher then ended up taking a few shots at MJF and Adam Cole. Of course, MJF and Adam Cole are going to be facing Aussie Open on 0 Hour, All In, before the show, starts. It's going to be for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championship. So it should be a good match between MJF, Adam Cole, and Aussie Open on the All In 0 Hour. So now we had Matt and Jeff Hardy. Matt and Jeff Hardy ended up challenging Aussie Open for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships. There you go. Now Aussie Open's next opponents after MJF and Adam Cole are going to be the Hardys. So that should be, pretty good there. Then we had Sammy Guevara versus John Cruz. Of course, Sammy Guevara ended up winning the match. Sammy Guevara delivered a jumping knee strike to Cruz, and then the GTH. So there you go. Sammy Guevara won the match. Easy win for Guevara here. Main event. Hikaru Shida and Skye Blue versus Ruby Soho and Toni Storm. And this was a okay women's tag team match here. Of course, Saraya was out there ringside. So we had Toni Storm and Ruby Soho end up blindsiding both Hikaru Shida and Skye Blue as they got into the ring. The match got underway. Toni Storm ended up jamming her boot into Hikaru Shida's neck. Ruby Soho ended up tossing Skye Blue inside the ring. Skye Blue ended up firing off some forearms on Soho, and then she delivered a terrace, and she was looking to go for a jumping knee to Ruby Soho, but Ruby Soho avoided that as she upsent Skye Blue into the top turnbuckle. Toni Storm then tagged in, and Ruby Soho ended up firing off some stomps to Skye Blue. So we had Toni Storm end up continuing to wear down on Skye Blue. Ruby Soho ended up taking it back in. Ruby Soho ended up firing off some more stomps to Skye Blue. Toni Storm then ended up attacking Skye Blue while the ref was distracted. So we had Toni Storm and Ruby Soho end up double teaming on Skye Blue, sending her crashing into the corner. So Toni Storm ended up sending Skye Blue crashing to the outside, and Ruby Soho ended up planting Skye Blue down to the floor. So Rampage went to commercial. Then when Rampage came back from the commercial, Skye Blue delivered a kick to Toni Storm's face, and she tagged in Hikaru Shida. Ruby Soho ended up tagging in, so Soho and Shida ended up going at it. Shida ended up knocking Toni Storm off the apron. Shida ended up sending Ruby Soho crashing down to the mat off her shoulders, and then she followed up with a kick to Ruby's head. So we had Toni Storm end up leveling Hikaru Shida with a German suplex, but Skye Blue ended up taking Toni Storm down with an enziguri. Ruby Soho then ended up leveling Skye Blue with a Sato suplex. So Hikaru Shida ended up decking Ruby Soho with a knee to her jaw. Skye Blue ended up tagging in, and Ruby Soho sprayed Skye Blue with the green spray paint. So she ended up sending Skye Blue into the middle turnbuckle, tagged in Toni Storm. Toni Storm ended up delivering a hip attack. She ended up going for the cover on Skye Blue, but Hikaru Shida ended up breaking up the pin. So Hikaru Shida here is now the legal woman in the match. So Hikaru Shida and Toni Storm end up going back and forth with some forearms. Shida ended up gaining the upper hand, started alone on Toni Storm. So Hikaru Shida then ran the ropes. Saraya grabbed Hikaru Shida's ankle, which allowed for Toni Storm to deliver a kick to Hikaru Shida. Ruby Soho ended up tagging in, and Ruby Soho and Toni Storm were looking to go for a double powerbomb to Hikaru Shida. But Skye Blue ended up saving Hikaru Shida, and she ended up playing Ruby Soho. And so there you go. Hikaru Shida and Skye Blue ended up winning the match. To which Ruby Soho was shocked at the pinfall. So post-match, Hikaru Shida and Skye Blue continued to brawl with Toni Storm and Ruby Soho, and also Saraya. And then Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, ran down. So we had officials end up running down to separate these women. So that was how Rampage went off the air. But overall, I thought this was an okay women's tag team match here. But Rampage, in my opinion, was a good show tonight. But anyways, that's it for my review of tonight's Smackdown and AEW Rampage. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all tomorrow night for AEW Collision. I'll see you all tomorrow night.